Channel 5 Network, this is Titans Talk.
Hey there, Titans Talk on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Monday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Coming off of a Titans loss, 12-7 yesterday in Arizona against the Cardinals, and my phone, my computer downstairs just blew up yesterday with comments on Twitter about this game. So we give you the forum tonight, 737-7767, the number. Your thoughts as that game progressed yesterday. It was ugly. It was hard to watch at many points throughout, and I know that has been a complaint that we've talked about on this show that Titans fans have had throughout the course of the year. The difference yesterday, though, is this team has so often this year figured out a way to get it done. So often this year they have struggled. The offense hasn't gotten into high gear, but the defense would keep them close, and when they needed to make a play, the offense would make it, and they'd come out with a win, and you'd sit there and kind of scratch your head afterwards wondering what you just watched, but yet it went into the win column. And this was a team that won 6 of 7 games, was 8-4 in first place in the AFC South going into yesterday's game, but yesterday just could never get over the hump offensively. And there's a whole lot of places that you can point to. I got a lot of comments about Mike Mularkey. I got tons of comments about Terry Robisky, the offensive coordinator. Plenty of comments about Marcus Mariota, threw 2 interceptions in the game and now has a career-high 14 for the season at quarterback. Running game, certainly an issue yesterday. They had 15 yards rushing the football in the second half yesterday. They had 32 total yards in the second half. Just 3 first downs, 2 interceptions, no points. That's how you lose a football game. And don't blame the defense yesterday anyway, because the defense held the Cardinals without a touchdown. Arizona never got to the end zone yesterday, but they win it off of 4 field goals. And let's lump the special teams in there too, because Mike Mularkey went for a fake punt from the Titans' own 35-yard line in the third quarter of the game. It initially looked like they got it, but I think rightfully so. Bruce Arians challenged the call, and replay showed that Eric Weems didn't quite get there. Overturned the call. It was a turnover on downs. Cardinals take over, and basically they didn't have to gain a yard to be in field goal range. Titans defense did a valiant job to hold them to just 3 points. But just so many mistakes and so many things to criticize yesterday from this game. The question to me, though, as we sit here now, and the Titans are in Arizona practicing this week, so they didn't have to fly all the way back to Nashville and then fly all the way back out to San Francisco next weekend. But as they sit there in that hotel, in the nice weather, the warm weather in Arizona, getting set for another road trip this weekend in the NFC West, what they have to decide for themselves, and fans and people around the league, I think, have to decide, is, was yesterday a blip? And that this is a team, although maybe not pretty, that's going to figure out ways to win that game. They tend to not kill themselves that much. Yesterday they killed themselves. They weren't just pretty, but they also killed themselves. Holding penalty, calls back a 55-yard run in the first half. The 2 interceptions, some drops in there, third down mistakes, some penalties. They killed themselves yesterday in that game. They shot themselves in the foot, and that compounded things. For the most part this year, they haven't shot themselves in the foot. They just haven't executed in the way that they would like. So is yesterday's game a blip on the radar, and they'll get back to doing what they do to win these type of close games? Or is yesterday really who this team is? And I guess in the same sense as a turning point. Is yesterday a turning point for this team to kind of pull it all together and rally around each other in these final 3 games of the season and understand that they have to play better than what they've played to this point? And we then see that over the final 3 games? Or is yesterday the turning point in the other way? That this is as bad as it can get, and it's difficult to come back from. I mean, think about this. The Titans defense has held offenses without a touchdown twice this year. 2 times the Titans defense has played so well, they haven't allowed the opposing team to get into the end zone. Actually, as I think about that, it's actually 3 times. They've won 1 in Cleveland. They won 12-9 in Cleveland without allowing the Browns to dent the end zone. But they've lost now 2 games without allowing the other team's offense to score a touchdown. That just can't happen. And yesterday was one of those. Just a very disappointing effort, a frustrating effort. Marcus Mariota said that was an understatement after the game, how frustrating it was. How frustrated are you, and what do you think? Is this who the Titans are? Or was yesterday a blip on the radar that can be a turning point for them to get things going down the stretch? Remember, everything's still out in front of them. The division goal is still out in front of them. They're a game back of the Jaguars, but if you win these next 2 weeks, you're guaranteed to be playing for the division title against the Jaguars on December 31st. It'll be up for grabs that day. So, still tons to play for. Even if you don't do that, in the driver's seat for a wild card spot. You're in the 5 spot right now. You're a game up on the 6 seed. Pretty much 2 games up on everybody else in the mix here. I mean, 2 wins is going to be enough for the Titans if they can figure out a way to do it. 1 win may be enough. But the way they played yesterday, how concerned are you down the course of the season? I have been on record that while it's been ugly throughout the course of the year, it didn't rise to the level of real concern for me because I thought there was another gear for this team that eventually they would hit. And 2, when they didn't play their best, they showed that they were still able to win games. The complementary aspect of the football, that when the defense has struggled, the offense has generally rose to the occasion. When the offense has been really poor, the defense has been outstanding, which has allowed them to be in most of these games and win a whole bunch of them. Remember, this team is still 8-5 at this point. But now I'm sitting here after watching that game yesterday, and I'm wondering a bit. We're now 13 games into the season. Only 3 games left. Most of the body of work is out there. Are they going to ever hit that next gear? Are they ever going to click on all cylinders offensively this season? Obviously, that remains to be seen, but I'm beginning to have my doubts. And if that doesn't happen, how do you close? How do you close this season? We'll certainly get the answers to that over the next few weeks here, but now what looked like such a great step for this team to be poised to make the playoffs, potentially win the division for the first time since 2008, there's some work cut out for them down the final few weeks of the season here. All right, we want to hear from you tonight. Your thoughts on the game yesterday, where the Titans go from here, your level of concern over this team, maybe their quarterback, heading into the final 3 weeks of the year. 737-7767, the number, 737+. Call us up and be a part of the show here tonight on Titans Talk. Let's go to Gordon. Gordon, you will lead us off here on Titans Talk. Thanks for the call.
All right, Steve. I was concerned about this team 6 weeks ago when I called in, when we played Cleveland. And you know, we were all saying, "Hey, a win is a win. It doesn't matter how you get it. It's the record that's important." Well, for one game, that may be true. But when you look at this season, yes, we have found ways to win, but only against really poor teams. We found a way to beat a winless Cleveland team, and we had to go into overtime to do it. We found a way to win against a lousy Bengals team, a lousy Colts team, and a Texans team last week that half their offense is out with injuries. So yeah, we have found ways to win, but we have found ways to win against teams that we should have won easily. We should have dominated. So yeah, I'm concerned because I think that this is the barometric reading of this team. You cannot continue to win close games against lousy teams before it catches up to you. This offensive line has not been able to open up holes consistently in the run game. I think that they're not playing with passion. They're getting pushed around. And frankly, I hope that all the players are watching. Well, they're out in Arizona, but I'd love to see them handle these comments. I want to see that offensive line get mad. I don't want to see them play angry. Not stupid, but angry. Because if they don't, the Jags, who have beaten every team we've beaten convincingly, are coming up, and they're the road to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, every time we play a team that we squeak out a win, the Jags win by a couple of touchdowns. I think that's telling you something.
Well, I'll say one thing, Gordon. The Jags have played incredibly well, and there's no question if you compare the body of work of what they've done for the season and not just the head-to-head record, the Jags look like the better team. I mean, that's weird to say because the Titans beat them by 21 in Jacksonville, but over the course of 13 games now for each, the Jags look like the better team. But even saying that, there aren't many teams that are just walking in and handling people every week in the NFL. The Patriots don't usually do it. The best teams in the NFC haven't done it this year. So I'm less concerned about squeaking out wins. I still think that's a mark of a good team and a belief that you can do it late, no matter who you're playing against. Because even the Browns give people battles almost every week. They haven't figured out how to win, but they almost, they took the Packers to overtime the other day. They had the Jags down to the wire a couple weeks ago. They always seem to be in these games against teams. They just haven't figured out how to get over the hump. So I will give the credit to the Titans there, but to your point about the passion, I will say this. Yesterday, that locker room had as much fire and, for lack of a better term, I guess, piss and vinegar from guys after the game that I've seen in a long time around here. So if that loss and that performance yesterday doesn't give them the passion to go to San Francisco and take care of business this weekend and maybe spur them on for the final 3 games of the season, I don't know what will. I'm not saying they didn't have the passion before, but that was an annoyed and angry locker room after the game yesterday. Yeah,
they deserve to be.
Yeah, well, Gordon, we appreciate the call. Always interesting stuff from you. And we welcome more phone calls tonight. 737-7767 is the number. We'll take our first break here. We'll come back. More of your calls and much more on Titans Talk here on News Channel 5+.